Welcome to the Best You discussion. Glad you're being able to watch and glad we can bring this to you. We hope you're receiving exactly what you deserve. Here's some things I want to point out real quickly. One, please like our Facebook page. Two, subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Best You YouTube channel. Three, visit our website, bestyouguru.com. And send us an email, bestyouguru@yahoo.com. Sign up to receive our blogs. We email them to you if you want. You can look at them on our website, or if you're on our email list, we'll email them to you. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. But most importantly, tell us how we can help. Funding makes all of this happen. And we ask those of you that can afford it, we ask for your support. All this is free if you need it. And all we do is ask for your help to support our activities. You can send your donations via Venmo. That's Venmo. You can use it, or PayPal. If you're going to use Venmo, do it Venmo at Robin-Shivery, or you can use PayPal using bestyouguru@yahoo.com. If you didn't get either of that and you want me to repeat it, I will as often as you'd like, or you can just send us an email at bestyouguru@yahoo.com, and we'll give you all that information and answer your questions as well. Tonight, this is a second in a two-part series discussion, and I want to thank Jordan, my son-in-law, for advising me on this and helping me. We're real big on pushing the authentic identity theory because we truly believe in the inherent greatness found within you. But Jordan pointed out to me that education has taught us some issues and facts that aren't necessarily true. In order for you to compete in any game, you must know the game. So we're going to veer off a little bit and try to educate, make you aware of the game you're playing in. As I often say, if you're playing football and you hit a home run, doesn't do you much good. So I ask you to learn the game you're playing. And one of the issues we're facing in this series is economics. Again, this is a second in a two-part, so please watch the first one as well. Our topic, beware of simple solutions to complex problems. I advise you to take some notes, and please do some research. Send me questions via email because we're here to answer them. We help you live your greatness. Let us continue our discussion and stop some of the bullshit. As a result of the new global economic system that we talked about in the first part of our series, remember, this global economic system was started by and for American manufacturing companies, for American companies. Large-scale changes began to take place. One of them was Foxconn. Foxconn is a Chinese company founded in 1974. It began to make components for American products. And if you remember, we relate this back to the fall of the Soviet Union. We now are expanding to Asia. Foxconn could make products cheaper because their labor costs were cheaper, much lower. China became the source of American manufacturing, not because the Chinese invited us, but because that's what American companies wanted. Do you understand that we established foreign manufacturers to compete against American manufacturers, all for short-term profitability? I'm not saying it was right, and I'm not saying it was wrong. I'm just saying these are the facts. But it is something that we should understand when making decisions. America did this, and we should accept responsibility. If it needs to be changed, we must make the changes. We funded this venture to expand manufacturing to China, and Foxconn is a result of American ingenuity. We wanted to increase profitability for Wall Street. American manufacturing and tech assembly shifted from America to Taiwan and China, and anywhere cheaper. Large manufacturing clusters began to develop in China. Manufacturing became very efficient. Their close proximity to one another cut down production costs even further. Transport, logistics, inventory, and workforce were all reduced. Foxconn was a is a contract manufacturer. It became and remains the juggernaut in a new way of doing business. The mass market for electronics drove the change in this business environment. This market developed in the 90s. Established around 1974, Foxconn is now riding the wave in the 90s after they formed all this manufacturing capability, and they rode the PC wave to global dominance. The biggest boost to this model is something almost every American holds in their hand: the smartphone. The iPhone has this global system working at maximum efficiency. The rise of specialty manufacturers like Foxconn reshaped America's technology industry. Our industry. Combine this with the rise of Silicon Valley, which was all about software and intellectual property, explains why income inequality has risen. Companies like Apple, they don't make things. Apple is a design sell company. They design it, and then they send the work of manufacturing to somewhere else. All of these forces came together to force a massive shift and restructured American industry within a decade. Instead of building up our own supply chain, Americans focused on software, design and development of software. We did not focus on our own economic ecosystem. The American ecosystem was ignored, and today we pay the price. At the same time, China decided to focus on completing their economic system, their ecosystem, and begun their own software and design. They began an intense focus on IT. Then the world came to know Edward Snowden. The Snowden scandal changed relationships between countries throughout the world. Snowden revealed documentation that showed America was spying on other countries. The image that was presented assumed you could no longer trust American companies because they were looking over your shoulder. This increased the urgency for other countries to produce their own technology instead of relying on America. China now viewed America more as a threat than as a partner. The Chinese rise in information technology began to become a threat to American superiority in IT. I hope you're getting to understand a little bit of this because we created this. The Chinese were gaining information from the products they manufactured. They no longer needed America. The issue The real issue was not about tariffs or trade deficits. It is about the American economic system. It is about America's view of short-term profitability. That quest, coupled with the denial of American labor. In September of 2015, China and America reached an agreement to stop the cyber-enabled theft of intellectual property. That year, 2015, the frequency of hacking was tremendous until that agreement, and then it declined dramatically. Both countries realized in 2015 that a cooperative partnership was better. They could manufacture, we could design, and everything was fine. That's what we agreed to in 2015. But in 2017, the theft of intellectual property reemerged. It began to on the rise again, and you ask why? China saw a change in administrations, and a change began in tariffs. China viewed those tariffs as an insult because earlier, 2 years earlier, they had agreed with America on cooperative technology. They saw America as betraying America's own word. We installed tariffs against Chinese products. Instead of stopping that cyber theft, the Trump administration began a trade war, which was a great public relations gimmick. But our trade deficit today, as we sit here today, December 2020, our trade deficit is higher today than before the trade war. So you got to ask yourself, what good did the tariffs do us except increase our deficit, increase our debt, and a trade imbalance? Millions of taxpayer dollars have been used to fund this trade war. And China has done nothing to stop the theft of intellectual property because we went against what we agreed upon in 2015. The trade war was a threat to China's security. After all, they are manufacturing our products. The U.S. set up trade barriers to the global supply chain. This created a problem for the entire tech industry. Supply chains have been disrupted and will pay the price for at least 5 to 10 more years, maybe longer. The tech industry, America's farmers, the American workforce in general are experiencing a lot of pain because of this misguided publicity gimmick. This effort has hurt Americans far more than any other single country. Our greed, it is our greed that has produced this pain. Combine this with what we are experiencing now, a pandemic. Oh man, how are we going to fight this? The coronavirus has exposed much of our economy and says a lot about us as a people. The pandemic shut down the manufacturing hub of the world for more than a month. Also, the transport links have been shut down. We are starting to see a shortage of components in various products. The just-in-time delivery model of Edward Demings, developed under the Marshall Plan that we developed to help the Japanese after World War II, is now experiencing many problems. Companies around the world are scrambling. The shutdown in China's manufacturing hub was short-lived for China, but it did force many companies to rethink what their business models and their systems are doing Those systems were formed decades ago. And America has shown a weakness to bend to political winds. That pandemic has changed things forever. But now what? The now what response depends upon you and the knowledge you possess, the knowledge you act on. The reason for our last two discussions is to let you know that what you've been told by the guy at the end of the bar, the political pundits, the social media outlets that have an agenda to create their own power, to create their own profit, may not be what's best for you. Research the truth. Research the many facts that we have just given you, and know how to act upon it for your own best interest. So let us recap our discussions during this two-part series on Beware Simple Solutions to Complex Problems. 1. The fall of the Soviet Union was not due to American leadership. I don't care what they tell you, study Soviet history, and it will show to you that we had very little to do with the fall of the Soviet Union. 2. Trickle-down economics of the Reagan era produced massive debt and did nothing to establish America as an economic powerhouse. 3. The fall of the Soviet Union provided more worldwide opportunities for America. 4. American businesses began the short-term profitability vision. 5. American companies moved to China for cheaper labor. America began reducing productions of products alone. They weren't taken from us. We chose that plan. Stock market rises. Yeah, stock market rising is good for many of us. Companies' profits explode. They did. But wages did not rise in America. More money on Wall Street did not equate to more money on Main Street. 7. The rise of Silicon Valley, the PC, and the smartphone moved more manufacturing to China. It was an effort to please Wall Street and corporate profits and better stock prices and cheaper products. 8. Manufacturing clusters developed in China. China became a manufacturing hub. 9. Instead of building up our own supply chain, we focused on software. We built nothing, but we designed everything. 10. China decided to focus on completing their own economic ecosystem and began the software and design development as well. 11. The Snowden incident changed relationships internationally. Whether we repair them or not depends upon us. Number 12, IT theft has decreased, then increased, and hopefully we can make it decrease again, but it's based upon our ability to keep our word. 13, the 2015 agreement stopped IT theft. It decreased. And again in 2017, the tariffs and the trade wars with China, IT theft increased again. 15, IT thefts increase. Trade creates American debt and costs jobs and disrupt supply chains. 16, then we had the COVID-19, the coronavirus. It shut down the manufacturing hub for a little over a month, but it disrupted supply chains for a much longer period, causing people to rethink business models and to rethink the relationship with America. 17, our business models need to be reevaluated. Is it truly beneficial for Americans to have CEOs earning 300 times or more than their average worker? Or is it more beneficial to reward workers? 18. It's decision time for America. What we're experiencing today in America is not capitalism as defined by Adam Smith. No, 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 no. We are suffering or living under a neoliberal economic system that rewards the movement of money rather than production. We've had over a 70% increase in productivity, and wages don't correlate. That's not capitalism. I encourage you to read Wealth of Nations and Moral Sentiments. They are both by Adam Smith, who founded American capitalism in 1776. That is what our founders based our economic system on, but that's not what we're living under today. This is not capitalism. 19, don't blame China. American businesses created the game and wrote the rules. China has learned to play the game with a long-term focus. Chinese companies have 100-year business plans. The Honda company, the Japanese car manufacturer, has a 100-year business plan. And it's uncommon to get an American business leader to think past next quarter. And 20, stop listening for simple answers to complex problems. Thank you for watching, and help us stop the bullshit. Get educated. Read a book now and then. And if you're confused or you just want to learn more, if you have questions of us, send us an email. Namaste.